Hello and welcome back to Creating Generational Wealth Through Property Investment. I'm Adam Bell, your host, and today we're going to talk to Gordon Green, property guru, about the release of his new book, Creating Generational Wealth, same title as the podcast. Welcome to Creating Generational Wealth Through Property Investment with Gordon Green. Gordon is a highly successful property investment strategist, and in each episode, he shares his knowledge and strategies that have helped thousands of everyday Aussies build a secure financial future through property investment. Remember, Gordon works one-on-one with all of his clients, so if a property investment is something you're keen to explore, then Gordon would love to put a bespoke property deal together just for you. This book is a treasure trove for anyone looking to deepen their understanding of property investment. So first of all, Gordon, congratulations on the release of your book.
Thanks, Adam.
So how long give me the backstory. How long have you been writing this for and what's it all about?
I had several of my clients push me pretty hard back in early 2000 to understand what I do. Mm-hmm. And I never classed myself as a writer. Mm-hmm. And some of those clients have written those books with my permission and sort of edified me in the belief that I was the guy behind it that taught them all they know. Yep. Which did pretty well for my business. It was probably as good as me writing the books.
Sure.
But I've also had a few people say to me, look, you have such an understanding of property. Why don't you share it with other people? And I'm not getting any younger. And I think it motivated me to actually put it together.
Yep.
And I've put it together it's only taken about 8 to 10 months.
Yep.
To go through a process. Mm-hmm. I got a fair bit of help with it so as it makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? And when I first did the first draft, it was about, I was looking at people that had actually made some money and were wanting to move to the next step. Mm-hmm. But I suddenly realised that they weren't the people who really needed the help. I sat down and rewrote it. and I've started with the very basics. What are you doing from where you start? What are you doing to educate your children as to where they start? There's another guy I've collaborated with that writes books on educating children, and we've sort of bounced both books off each other.
Yep.
And he takes over with the kids' education, whereas I continue with the adult education.
Sure.
And it is just a process. It's not, I don't find it difficult, but I see people out there that just don't.
They don't have any idea.
Yeah, they haven't got a clue.
Right? And that's not their fault, you know.
There's no education for it, right? And I used to run big workshops to educate people, very time-consuming and very...
Yep. So this is just a download of everything organised into a book that you can read and get a lot out of and go and, implement strategies that you've taken a lifetime to learn.
It's to get people to understand the subtleties in some of the deals that I've done. It's not just one of the little things I did was buy a strip of small shops.
Not a strip shop.
We probably had some of those.
I think they call them joints in my day. Strip joint. That strips. Let's get back to it. Yep.
But yeah, a little strip shopping centre, and kicked all the tenants out and redid the blend and redid the meld, and then set each of the shops up with second-hand equipment. Yep. And leased the shops to people that wanted to run a business as fully set up shops, and I got premium rents because they already had all their equipment included.
Right.
The cost to do it was a fraction of what the end value was.
Yep. And
the deal itself worked very well for everybody.
So you've done some innovating things over your time, haven't you?
Yeah, well, it's a matter of not I can't do this, it's a matter of how can I do this.
Yep.
Right? I'm not very creative, but I've been involved in a whole lot of different businesses over the years, and I can take something from one business and plant it into another business.
You see opportunities.
Yeah. And I don't buy at auctions because I don't believe you should be the guy that's got his hand up the highest paying the most money to buy something.
Yep.
But I understand I've developed a process to prevent that from happening.
Yep.
If I really want the property, I'll still get it.
Yep.
But I won't be the clown at the auction that's paying more than anybody else.
Sure. Yep.
And it's something that I saw in the used car market that I thought that is unbelievably good. And I transported it into real estate.
Into property.
To make it work. So
wow.
we had to modify it and play with it a bit.
Yep.
But it works.
So who's this book for then, Gordon? Who's the perfect reader out there who should grab a copy of this, who would get the most out of it?
A young 25-year-old that really wants to be somebody.
Right.
And when I say that, I mean financially be somebody. Where they can have a life they want, they can give their kids a decent life, have holidays, have a good time. Most people struggle with just basic jobs.
Yep.
And I've been fortunate. I know what my background was.
Yep.
Man, we were poor.
Yep.
Really financially challenged, all right?
Yep.
And I've made good money, made a good living. My kids are comfortable. My grandkids will be comfortable. Not because I give them money, but because I teach them how to manage their money.
Yep.
And a whole lot of little things that make a difference.
Yep.
And it's the things I see the average person not do. We used to lecture in Queensland University money management back to the medical faculty back in the 70s.
Yep.
And it was just basic stuff that we taught those guys that I still implement today.
Yep.
About controlling your spending, knowing where they are. To me, it's basic stuff.
Yep.
Even in my position, I still pay everything monthly. I never pay a yearly bill.
Yep.
Because I want that cash flow to be even. Right? I don't want it to be up and down like a year.
Yep.
Whereas I sit down with most clients and graph their expenditure, I'd get dizzy riding the merry-go-round, right?
Yep.
Because it's up and down like a rocket.
Yep.
And yet their income is flat. So what happens is when they've got an expensive month and you haven't got enough money, where do we go? Credit card. When you've got a good month and you've got a bit of surplus, where do we go? Go out to dinner, have a good time, spend a little extra, and maybe put a bit off the credit card.
Yep.
But it's an ever-increasing debt cycle.
Yeah.
If you level that expenditure to start with, you've got what I call your investment sandwich, where you know where to go.
Yep.
I trademarked a thing called Building the Money Manor back in 2002. And it's the process I use to develop serious money.
Yep.
And it is just get some cash flow, buy some cash flow properties, get some cash flow either from your job or your business, buy some cash flow positive properties. When you've got a couple of cash flow positive properties, make that the base to go and buy the negatively geared property. Because negative gearing is making a loss. But so long as somebody else is paying for it, does it matter? And the negative gear one is the one that's going to have the most gains.
Yep. Yeah, you've mentioned that before, haven't you? That the negatively geared one, generally speaking, have got far more upside on capital growth than your positively geared ones.
Well, take a look at the Gold Coast currently. As an investment strategy, I wouldn't put money into the Gold Coast if my life depended on it.
Yep.
If I was wanting to make some money. Sorry, I'll correct that. If I was needing cash flow.
Right.
But if I had a spare couple of mil to spend, I'd probably be down at one of the waterways every weekend trying to buy something at an auction.
Yep.
Because the gains on that stuff is unbelievable.
Yep.
But it's not the 4 or 5 or 600,000 into the marketplace.
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
People have actually made some money.
We've already got that to be able to use.
Yeah, it's getting people to start at the start.
Yep.
And when I looked at the book, I'd started halfway through.
Yep.
With when you've got this money, this is what you do.
Sure.
But the really important stuff is getting that foundation right.
Yep.
It's like any building. You put the foundation down and put it down properly, the building will survive forever. And your portfolio is the same way.
Yep.
You build it on a proper foundation with a proper base, with everything done correctly from day one, it's never going to go and fall over on you.
No.
The number of clients I see who hit the wall where they've got 2 properties, maybe a third one, and then they can't borrow any more money. And the real reason is because the 3 they've got really aren't making them any money.
No. And look, it makes me now think to the title of this podcast and your book, Creating Generational Wealth. That really is the backbone of your entire system and strategy, isn't it? And looking to build one deal on top of another to reach the goals, which will all be different for everybody. But there's a system and a strategy to do that so that you don't hit a brick wall at a certain point, and that you can build, and that you can, whether it's to retire in 5 years or just create enough, in cash flow and income to have a lifestyle. That's what you're about, and not just you. I'm not here to just buy a property and sit on it. And yeah.
Let's put it this way: you can't eat assets.
Very true.
Yeah, but I mean, they help.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you get to an age and the bank just looks at you and goes, what's your exit strategy? How are you going to pay for this?
Yep.
So it doesn't matter how much you've got. They're interested in how much income you've got that you can pay for things with.
Yep.
So to me, cash flow is king. That doesn't mean I don't like a bit of growth, and I don't look for deals that have got massive amounts of growth in it.
Yep.
But I prefer to create that growth instead of just letting it happen.
For sure.
Because when it happens, it's happened for everybody else as well. So you really haven't had a win.
Sure.
Whereas when you create the growth yourself,
Yep.
then you've got yourself in front of the tide.
Sure. So what about people who maybe don't think they've got, much of a financial position to be able to invest right now? Is your book still going to be of benefit to those?
The book will give them the understanding of how to do the planning.
Right.
And a step-by-step process on one chapter, do this number, then this number, then this number,
Yep.
and that'll give you this result.
Right.
The easy way to do it is ring me and ask for the program, right?
Sure.
That I have that works it out straight away. But the book's actually got a chapter to cover that, so
Yep.
that if you needed to, you could do the
Well, that's something we
100%.
keep mentioning that's in these podcast episodes that's just so wonderful about what you do, Gordon, is that you work one-on-one with your clients. You're available. You want to speak to them. You're not this big company with 25 salespeople who all have their targets and their budgets and their stock that they've got to flog off to, as investments to people who want to buy investment properties and don't care, literally what the end result's going to be, good, bad, or indifferent. You make your money on your clients making money, and you work one-on-one and do it all for them, which just, I can't say highly enough how much that would give me confidence in using you for this service over, what you see out there.
I'm happy to teach people what I do because I understand I'm not going to be around forever.
Yep.
If they just want to set and forget, that's my preferred client.
Yep.
But every now and then I take a client on that I know is going to need a lot of hand-holding to
Yep.
make it work.
Yep.
And you just do what you got to do.
Yep. Because you've had a lot of, what can I use the word, protégés, haven't you? I know you did your courses and things, but you've taught a lot of people how to do this, haven't you? And there's a lot of people out there right across Australia. I know you were just talking to me before off air about a guy you've got in Adelaide, but you've taught a lot of people how to do this, haven't you?
If I get clients want to invest in different areas to where I have my expertise, and I say Southeast Queensland is my ideal place to play, right? But if somebody wants to go into Sydney, I've got Pat down in Sydney. If I want to go into Adelaide, I've got Martin in Adelaide. I've got a guy in Melbourne. I've got another guy in Perth. I've got another guy in South Australia. I've got a guy in Townsville that have all been through my process and are now full-time developers
Yep.
or out there doing it full-time for a living.
Yep.
And I trust them.
Yep.
And their knowledge on their area, they understand how to do the research because years ago I taught them
Yep.
how to do it.
Yep.
And that's how they do their research because it's what works.
Yep.
It's pretty simple.
Yep.
and I'm good at what I do because I understand my territory and
Yep.
my area.
So look, listeners, get out there and get a copy of Gordon's book, Creating Generational Wealth Through Property and Investment. And look, it's got everything. It's got, what are we talking, 60 years of knowledge and experience built into that book. And if you want to create wealth, this is a great starting point to read this and understand Gordon's process and strategy. And as always, as we keep exploring through this podcast series, read his book and give him a call and talk through. I didn't understand this chapter, Gordon. What was that all about? No, look, Gordon's there, and this can give you the strategies to be able to do a bit yourself. But if you really want to get a great deal, give Gordon a call. What's your number, Gordon?
0404 743 514.
Say that again.
0404 743 514.
I hope you wrote that down or plugged it into your phone. Give him a text, give him a call, and look, if you want to get into property, Gordon is definitely your man. But look, whereabouts can we buy this book? First of all, it's going to be on your website.
Yep, it's on the website,
Which
easily
is
available, or
www.
profitableinvestmentconcepts.com.au.
Okay, and Amazon, anywhere else, or?
Probably not on Amazon because at the end of the day, they have an interesting way of distributing.
Sure.
It'll probably be an Amazon bestseller, but only in its own territory, which doesn't mean it's much good at all.
Sure.
But I have national distribution through Global Publishing.
Great.
And that'll put it in most of the major bookstores. But
Fantastic.
the easiest way is direct onto the website.
On the propitalinvestmentconcepts.com.au. So jump on, grab a copy. You won't regret it. You'll cover everything we've talked about in this podcast series and more. And look, you just can't go wrong. So jump on, get a copy. I know I'm going to be. And look, again, Gordon, thanks so much for joining me and sharing your insights every week. I just get more and more from what you've done, and seeing you here and seeing how passionate you are about what you've done and where you've come from, like you said, what you've learnt, and now passing that on, mate. Hat off to you.
Well, I find it pretty simple, but it's not always easy, all right? And you have to actually, if you don't know why you're doing it, you're never going to make it happen.
Yep.
Right? But,
which is why it's so good to come to you, because I am your lay person when it comes to this, mate. And I tell you what, the minute I'm in a position to be able to buy a property, you're my man. I'm loving what you're teaching us.
all right, Adam. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.